My name is Christine Walker, and I'm delighted to be hosting this brand new series of the stories of the afterlife for MNI Publishing. We're celebrating an important milestone as we bring you our very first book released by MNI Publishing, called Finding Purpose. And this will be the theme of all future episodes, as we present client stories from our amazing worldwide Life Between Lives facilitators. Today, I'm in conversation with my colleague Elisa Shine. Elisa is a certified transpersonal hypnotherapist, a certified Life Between Lives hypnotherapist with the Michael Newton Institute, and a certified past life regressionist. She offers a gentle path to profound self-discovery and healing, and with expertise in Life Between Lives hypnosis and a passion for guiding clients on their inner journeys, Elisa provides a safe and supported space for transformation. A very warm welcome to the next episode in our series, Finding Purpose. This is the companion conversation to the book of the same name, and our book has recently been released under MNI Publishing, available at all stockists. My name is Christine Walker, and today I'm in conversation with my lovely colleague and friend, Elisa Shine. What an amazing name. Welcome, Elisa. It's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you, Christine. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. The first question I always ask, Elisa, is to all of my guests, so that we have a different perspective every time, is there are so many things happening on planet Earth at the moment and within humanity without giving it labels. Do you get a sense or a feeling of knowing whether purpose is important to us?
Yes, Christine, I do believe that purpose is very important during these times. I believe that consciousness is expanding on the planet, and we're experiencing a shift in some of the old systems that we've relied upon. There's even a dissolving or transition in these older systems. And with any transition, often there's a feeling of uncertainty or fear that can arise connected to the unknown of the future. And I have many clients that come to see me for Life Between Life sessions, and sometimes they're experiencing a sense of uncertainty, and they're trying to find their place as they navigate our evolving world. And they have questions about themselves, of course, as a soul, and about their current life and the people that they are involved with. And then they also have questions about whether they're on track with their purpose. And many of them want to contribute to the future of Earth in a very positive way, not only for themselves and for their families and their children, but also for the collective as a whole. They really want to show up in the best way possible. And so when one has a sense of purpose, then they have meaning in their lives. And when they experience a sense of meaning, then they're able to act from that place of inspiration. So I believe purpose is very important during these times in our evolving world.
Thank you for sharing that. It's interesting you mentioned about some of them are often unsure, maybe afraid, but often unsure of the future and what it holds. And, it's easy to know as well what we don't want as opposed to what we do want. And so many people think that purpose has always got to be, connected to your career or some kind of vocational work. And it can be just, looking after your pet dog. It could be anything, couldn't it? And greatly connected with your heart, something that lights you up and feels good for you. We're on a physical planet with the emotions and the feelings, and yeah, that's a really great response, Elisa. Thank you so much. That's really great. Thank you. So with that in mind, what brings you purpose, Elisa?
Well, serving in this way brings me great purpose. being a Life Between Lives facilitator and helping others to connect with the wisdom of their soul. And, to connect with the energy of the heart as well. I really feel that that's needed in these times. And so in these sessions, people are able to connect with themselves as an immortal being and to discover that there's so much more than the physical form. And I really love to help others to connect with their guides, that support that's available to them on the other side, so that they can experience that sense of love and support, and to remember that they're not alone as they navigate this journey on Earth. And for me, during my very first Life Between Life session and subsequent Life Between Lives sessions, I've had quite a few now, I had the wonderful experience of connecting with my guides, my team. And I love the support that I receive from them in my life and in the work that I do. And so it really brings me great purpose to help others to connect with the support that's available to them. Because, it just makes life so much easier when we can make that connection. And then once that channel is open between the person's higher self and their human self and their guides, then that connection that can be nurtured, and the opening and the connection with these beings can be strengthened through things like intention or meditation. And it can just really make life so much more joyful, connecting with the soul and the support that's available, bringing great purpose to one's life. And so this brings me great joy.
You have such a gentle voice and an embracing energy about you. And I can imagine, that I feel that you've been great at helping your clients really connect that higher sense of self and their guides as well. People are afraid sometimes that they're getting it wrong, and, there's no right or no wrong. And, one person's meditation is another person's this and that and the other. I find for myself, with meditation as well, I have a very active, busy mind. So what I find is that I often have to do a guided meditation, but the best downloads that come for me are just when I'm walking in nature with my dog. And it's just, it's almost like you've sent that conscious, busy, overthinking, fragile mind at times, you've sent it on another journey, it's popped off somewhere, and then you just left alone that high part of yourself. That sounds lovely what you've just said. Thank you very much. I wanted to come to your beautiful story that you've submitted to the book. And your story is Healing Music from Home, under the chapter called Healing. And it involves your client Claire. And Claire came to you, well, she previously had past life regression with you and took the next step to come to Life Between Lives. And who's going through a transition herself. She separated from her husband of many years. She was 59. She was retiring from her role as a family counsellor with children and adults and families. And she was going through a real transition, but she specifically wanted to explore, while she always felt like she was rushing from this, that, and the other, and also she wanted to explore some soul contacts. Can you pick up the story for me?
Sure, I'd love to. Yes, so this case study really highlighted the support that can be available in a Life Between Life session. And so not all sessions contain the amount of support that Claire received in her session, but I noticed that many of the clients that I work with do receive support in the spirit realm. And it can be in the form of energy that is offered to help a client to release anything that is limiting them or holding them back in their current life. Or it may be some energy that's provided to help strengthen their confidence, or whatever it is that they need to really move forward on their path and really to align with their purpose. And so in this session, Claire received a lot of energetic support. And so in her past life regression, and that's a part of every LBL session. The past life regression is a component, and it is used as a launching pad into the spirit realm. And so in this session, Claire connected with a past life where she was a Roman soldier fighting the British. And she was a high-ranking officer that was involved in strategizing the maneuvers on the battlefield. And she died on the battlefield along with many other men. And when she left her past life self, and she began that journey back to the spirit realm as her consciousness expanded even further, she said that she heard a voice calling her, and she felt as if she was magnetically drawn from the heart. And as she rose up towards this voice, she felt lighter and lighter. And then she said that she and the other men who had died on the battlefield were suddenly surrounded by a group of etheric beings that were feminine in nature. And my client said that they are healers, and their job is to greet men who have been involved in war. And then they heard the message that they're welcome here. Everything is okay. There are no mistakes, no bad people. And then my client wept and was able to release some grief and some self-judgment that they had been carrying about their actions in that past life. And then soon after that, my client connected with her guide and was able to receive the name of the guide, and then, of course, her own soul name. And then the guide took her to a place where she was able to release further residue from that past life and was also able to enter her light body. And my guide wanted to take her to the council next, and she arrived to be before the council and received some answers to the important questions she had involving the separation with her husband. And then the council also helped her to become aware that she was holding some thoughts, some limiting beliefs. And they told her that it was a layer of conditioning that was no longer necessary. And that she didn't need to worry so much or try so hard. And that everything that she needed would come to her, the information that she needed, the resources that she needed, the support that she needed. It was all coming to her, and that she didn't need to be concerned. And then two guides, light beings, stepped forward, and they shared with my client that their specialty was to remove conditioned thoughts. And then they reached into her mind and they withdrew these thoughts. And then they told her that they were taking these thoughts to the next level where they could be transformed. Then my client had a beautiful experience as she was moving to the next area in the spirit realm that she was meant to connect with. And so she was moving along, and the guide said, "We don't like to rush here in the spirit realm. It's a lot to acclimatize to how much love there is here after experiencing the density of Earth." And the guide told her that he could help with this. And then he placed his hands on her head and on her eyes and her heart and her feet. And my client reported being awash with unconditional love and was able to really open and receive the amount of support there was for her in this place. And then my client, before, emerging from the session, she connected with some really profound and important information about her purpose. And she received the message that she was meant to bring the frequency of sound and music to Earth. That she was from a place where they knew the profound healing effect of music. And she was told that she was meant to sing while she was in nature and that Earth really loved it when she did this, and that it was also very good for her soul to sing and to make sound, and that it harmonized and brought balance to these areas when she did this. So that was really, really lovely for her to receive, and also surprising. She does sing in her day-to-day life, but she didn't recognize that these songs and making sound in this way was so important. And so Claire received a lot of information and some energetic support, some healing in the spirit realm that helped her to shift on many levels. And it was a very transformative experience for her.
Does she normally sing in nature, or was it something she was guided to do?
So she does sing. She sings in a choir. She sings for joy. She sings with others and by herself. So singing had been a part of her life. But what she received in her LBL was that these songs were more than just songs. They were medicine for the planet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God. Isn't that lovely? You can almost feel planet Earth pulsing, vibrating to that beauty coming through her. It's, oh, beautiful. Thank you. Well, it's obvious to me how she benefited from that. But, did you have any contact sometime later with her? How did you benefit from having that LBL and having that wisdom and that experience?
Well, she recognized that separation from her husband was okay. And she felt a greater peace around her decision, to separate and to move in a different direction. And so the council shared with her that she could have stayed in the relationship and that would have been okay. But it was also good for her to separate as well, because what was most important for her to know and to keep in mind that it's most important for her to be herself and to not try and fit into an uncomfortable situation that's not moving forward. And that the world really needs her how she is. And whether she's in a relationship or she's on her own, what's most important is for her to be herself and to not be dimmed down and to not make herself small. So that was really soothing for Claire to receive that information, and helped her to find greater peace in her separation with her husband.
And that leaves everything open then to start a new chapter to explore for herself, and one that will help to provide her with deeper meaning and sense of fulfillment as she goes forward with these new things as well. I know in her LBL she wanted to explore soul contracts and also with her husband as well. And was that achieved?
It was. She experienced further support after the session. So I always check in with the client weeks after their session to see if they need any support with their integration. And she shared with me that she had had many healing dreams and visits from light beings that worked with her and worked on her heart. And she said in the dreams, they would support her, one on either side of her, and they supported her with a pink energy to her heart. And she said that she was feeling greater peace and a lot of love towards her husband that she had separated from, and a lot of unconditional love towards those in her life, and experienced deeper levels of self-love. So feeling reassured about the direction her life was going. She also shared that she no longer felt that impatience, that need to rush from one thing to the next. And she became aware that there was an imprint from the past life as a Roman soldier that had been affecting the current life. And so that life as a Roman soldier was about life and death, and it was about fighting and protecting. And in the current life, she remembered that she's meant to go slow, build trust with others, and then to use her skills and knowledge to protect others, but to use it to advocate for the rights of children and families in the work that she does. And she shared that she feels a strong sense to use her knowledge and to use her experience to bring greater good to the world.
What a lovely session. It sounds like she's doing that. Just to crack open, her heart was open, but just to crack open another layer and to absorb it and integrate it and be it. It's how lovely for Claire to have had that experience and to have worked with you. And so can I ask you then as well, Elisa, what has been your journey to becoming an LBR facilitator?
Thanks for that question. Well, it was an interesting process. There came a time where I sensed that I was ready to make a change in my life. And so I had been involved in social work, and I had supported parents who had young children. And, I'd facilitated groups, parent support groups, and worked with them in many other capacities. And although I loved the work, I was sensing that I was meant to do something different, something more. And I was feeling a little restless. And so I was about to take a holiday with my partner, and I set the intention that I receive some signs while I was on holiday, signs and indicators that would help me to discover what it was I was meant to focus on next. And we love to read, both of us, and so we visited a number of bookstores. And the very first bookstore we went into, I noticed pretty quickly Michael Newton's book, The Journey of Souls. And I noted the book, and I have read it previously. I had read it 8 years before. I had taken this trip, and I fondly remembered that book and how much I enjoyed it, because it really answered a lot of the questions that I had had about what we were doing here on Earth, and, what our soul is involved with once we leave the human body and so forth. But I just sort of, just noted the book, but thought, oh, I've read that, and didn't pay too much attention to it. Well, later on that day, we went to another bookstore, and almost immediately my eyes fell on Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton. But I still didn't twig that something synchronistic was happening. And it wasn't until I went into a third bookstore, and I was standing once again in front of the metaphysical section, because that's where I gravitate to. And the owner of the store came up and asked if she could help me. And I told her I was just looking for a book, and asked her if she had any recommendations. And she handed me Journey of Souls. And in that moment, something clicked. And even though I have the book at home, I bought the book and began to read it while I was on holiday, and remembered, how much meaning the book had for me when I read it many years previously. And I got very excited about it and booked my very first Life Between Life session with a Newton-trained facilitator, and had a profound experience. And it really rippled out into my life, and things began to shift, and the doors opened, and I embarked on the journey to become an LBL facilitator. It took 3 years, beginning with becoming a clinical hypnotherapist, and then a past life regressionist, receiving certification in both of those, and then becoming eligible, a couple of years later, to take the training with the Michael Newton Institute. And it has been an incredible experience. I'm so glad that I said yes, and I received support from my guides. I was unknowingly receiving the nudges that I'd asked for. And it took quite a bit. It took them 3 times. They probably thought I was a tough case, but I finally got it. And I'm so glad that I did.
It's like spiritual networking, isn't it? They're going to get you. We're going to get you. I was speaking to my guest yesterday about books when we were talking about books, and you said that you'd read the book previously. And I was saying, you know, again, the same thing happens for me in bookstores, and that's where I hang out as well, in the metaphysical, and I love it. But, you might read a book maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and then you revisit it for whatever reason, maybe 8 years later, but because you're in a different place, the message is in a different place, and you take its message and perception in a different way as well. And that is the beauty of learning through books and storytelling as well, isn't it? It's amazing. So when you read it again, did it feel different? Did it feel familiar? Did you get a different experience? How was it for you?
Yes, I found that I was able to integrate everything that I had read previously, but I was able to integrate it on a different level. And I think it's because I was ready. And I was just getting a tremendous yes. I actually felt the energy moving through my body as I read through the different case studies again. And it was like a huge yes energy. And I was excited in a way that I had not been excited for many years.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's lovely. And I wanted to ask you then, so before we finish, you've explained everything so beautifully, and what a wonderful story, healing. It's just wonderful. Healing music from home. I love that. I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you feel that you'd like to share? Is there any words you want to say? Anything left unsaid that you want to share with us?
Thanks. Well, Christine, I just want to remind everyone that they're here for a purpose, and that there's so much support available to them, that they're never alone. And whether they can sense the support or not, it's there in the form of guides supporting them from the other side. And if any of our viewers are interested or have been considering a Life Between Life session, I really encourage them to go to the Michael Newton Institute website and look at the wonderful array of LBL facilitators from so many different places in the world, and choose one that they resonate with, and have a Life Between Life session, because it's a profound experience, absolutely transformative and life-changing. So yeah, just have a Life Between Life session.
I think you're right, because I think reading the books, it activates something inside of you. But to then take the next step and have your own experience, it's not comparative to anyone else's. It's so unique and given to your own needs and desires. And what the soul needs to know, so that it can influence the humanness, and that this collaboration between the human side and the soul side can live a much more purposeful life, I guess. Exactly that, So thank you. That's really great. Elisa, how can our viewers connect with you?
They can find me on my website, and it's elisashine.com, all one word. And they can also find me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you for everything that you've shared with us today, and thank you for being my guest. Until we cross paths again, take good care. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So wonderful to connect. And I'm sending all love.
Thank you very much.